Hey there. It's the same night as yesterday, but I am going to just wrap up this section on types of plants, plant diversity, part 1 of your packet. And then we'll be all set to start on part 2 after spring break. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this. So that's where we ended. Okay, so right here. All right, so plant vascular tissue. So vascular tissue forms a transport system. It's to help transport water and food. So xylem transports water and phloem transports nutrients. Vascular plant structures have true roots, leaves, and stems. The roots are underground organs that absorb water and minerals. Leaves are photosynthetic organs with one or more bundle of vascular tissues, and stems support the roots and leaves. Okay, there's 3 types of seedless vascular tissue, or these are the types we're going to talk about: the club moss, the horsetail, and the fern. Okay, so ferns in particular prefer wet environments with indirect light. They can grow as large as a small tree. They're really, I've had to replace or get rid of ferns because I don't really like them. And they are hard to pull out because they are big. Anyhow, the diploid sporophyte stage is dominant. So that's like the dominant stage that it's in. A frond is the large fern leaf, and then the sori is the cluster of sporangia underneath. So you might have noticed that sometimes when you look under fern leaves, they have the little spore type things under here. Okay, fern reproduction requires a thin film of water to reproduce. The sperm swims to the egg, and then a new sporophyte plant develops. Seed plants are divided into 2 groups: a gymnosperm, which bears seed on cones, and an angiosperm, which bears seed in a protective tissue layer. They do not need water film to reproduce, and they are found in a greater variety of environments. And the seed is simply just the embryo of a plant and a protective coating. Okay, gymnosperms are cones that are the seed-bearing structure. So it's like a conifer, like a pine tree or whatever. These are different examples. You can have a ginkgo tree, and genophyte, and cycad. Conifers are the most common gymnosperm. They thrive in a variety of biomes. The leaves are well adapted to dry conditions because they're pointy needles instead, and most retain their leaves throughout the year. Angiosperms have flowers. Their pollen can be transferred from flower to flower. The ovary protects the seed, and then after pollination, the ovary develops into a fruit. This is the angiosperm diversity. You can have a monocot and dicot. Their seeds just look different. So do their roots. You can have a fibrous root or a taproot. This is something like a carrot. Their seeds can be vascular or scattered vascular. Not their seeds, I don't know why I said that. Their vascular tissue can be scattered or can be in a ring. Do you remember in the diversity lab you looked at the different things under the microscope and you looked for a scattered pattern or a ring pattern? Their leaves can have parallel veins, or you can have net-like veins, and their flowers can be in multiples of 3, or they can be in multiples of 4 or 5. So that's how monocots and dicots are different. So flip over to page 7, and we're going to do this part together, and you guys I'll post these videos for you to watch. Okay, so want you guys to think about looking at these words. I'm going to create a map using the words, and I would usually probably have you do this as homework, but we're going to do it together. So which word do you think is kind of the biggest idea up here? All right, so we have plants. Okay, so plants can either be non-vascular, meaning they lack vascular tissue, or they can be vascular. So from there, from these words, vascular plants can be seedless, or they can have seeds. And if they have seeds, they can be a gymnosperm or an angiosperm. Okay, so after that, you're going to look back in the notes and you want to kind of define each word and then give an example of each type of plant. So for non-vascular, I would write something like no vascular tissue, depends on water. Oops, my phone. Sorry. For example, H2O. Or no, sorry, I don't know why I said that. Moss. Okay. And then for the other one, vascular plant structures. So if you have a vascular plant, these have xylem and phloem. Okay, so seedless vascular plants are what they sound like. They don't have seeds. An example of these are ferns. Okay, and then seed plants, you can have a gymnosperm or an angiosperm. These are cone bearing. For example, like a conifer, which is just a pine tree. Or you can have an angiosperm, which has flowers. So this could be any kind of flower, like a rose or whatever. Okay, and that's it for Unit 12, Part 1. And so when we pick up after break, we'll be on roots, stems, and leaves, and then just kind of move along. All right, so I hope you guys have a nice kind of week off from doing a lot of new work. I guess you might have time to do some catch up. But anyhow, I will talk to you in a week's time. Bye-bye.